founder and CEO of Epital, and he has 25 years of experience working as corporate executive, technologist, digital thinker, innovator, and product evangelist. He advises global corporations as well as startups, entrepreneurs, helping them in idea development, product launch, sprint, and idea to IPO strategies. And he would be talking on how to take it from 0 to 1 crore.
Thank you. Okay, so you all you have learned very heavily about how to go and sell, right? And you all learned about how to go and sell, set up a sales system, sales organization. I am going to take you guys back how to start a company. Is that an exciting thing? Good. First of all, thank you very much for being in this room. This session is going to be long. It's going to take 2 hours. But in its original form, it's actually 3.5 hour session, 4 hour session. We do lots of activities and lots of games together, and that's why we make it learning which gets registered into the mind. I come from a belief that when you train or when you give a lecture, only 7% message goes into our mind, 93% remains in this room. Today what I have seen is with adding these additional things, we are able to put around 50-55% into your mind. So I would suggest that just forget your mobile phone for 2 hours today. I think some of you in this room would have attended my earlier session, I don't know if anyone. I have been doing this 0 to 1 crore journey, and I just want to tell you why I am doing this. I have been an entrepreneur myself. I worked from a coder to CEO for ZTV entire group digital business at the age of 33. And then I have been an entrepreneur for last 6 years, raised around $2 million in revenue, or created around $6-7 million revenue myself in last 6 years. Exited 2 companies, 3rd company I'm running and setting up 4th company while talking to you. Why I am standing here in spite of not running my own organization is my self-discovery 4 years ago when I started seeing the employment scene in my country. And I saw around 19 crore unemployed youth or employment seeking youth on the street today. And I saw every year 3 crore, 4 crore new youths are coming into job market. So in India, you will have around 38, 39 crore youth by 2022. And with all these current programs of Startup India, Stand Up India, Sleep India, Wake India, you can only create 7 crore in new employment. So where will 33 crore people go and what would they do? They will become Naxalites, terrorists, and this and that, and they will make our life miserable. So if I can go inside the campus and come somewhere and make one person learn how to become an excellent employee, I'll solve one family problem. Sitting with you, I can solve at least 10 family problems. And I hope that you become more successful entrepreneur, because as you all know, and lots of people are putting lots of data around it, that there's 70% startup failure, there's 90% startup failure. I know for the fact that every day there are more companies closing down than starting up. Globally. Right? And then there are systems like Y Combinator, 500 Startup, Techstars, and a couple of others in the international market that have shown 60 to 70% success rate. So why can't we replicate something like that for India, for Indians, right? And then I went ahead to study. Last 4 years I have just studied that system. I was running a program called Idea to IPO. I have touched 20,000 people across country, which was just talking about the entire journey. And then I saw the book today. I think you all would have, some of you would have brought a book which has a title saying From Idea to IPO, right? So when I started with that program, I saw journey is good, but how about starting up? Because 70% of startups today, So 70% of startups today shut down before they go to 18 months of their journey. Right? So I said, what will solve that problem for India, for you? And I thought, I think if you can get a system where you can see a first 1 crore revenue in your company, you will certainly know that whether you have a company worth pursuing or not. Isn't that? First crore. How many of you have made first crore here in this room? Oh, that's only 6 people. Great. So, and how do you feel when you made a first crore? Do you think today you are more convinced as an entrepreneur versus when you were at a zero? You are more convinced, right? More confident. All of you who would gone to the 1 crore journey, that gives you different confidence. So I thought how to bring that 1 crore to everyone's life. I think 90%, 95% of you are sitting in an entrepreneurial forum not having 1 crore in revenue. India has a 6 crore MSME. And if you see the tax paying, only 3% Indians are paying tax. That means either, and Narendra Modi said everyone is a chore, did demonetization, what happened? It's because people are not generating money or enough money. It's too fragmented market. So I am here. So after doing all that study, I thought that rather than looking at a flinch approach to start a startup and then hanging around there and then shutting it down, can you give it a process approach? And I got into a 6-step process that I am going to tell you today, which will help you get a first crore in revenue for you. That's it. I don't want to tell you how to do an IPO. I don't want to tell you how to hire a great salesman. I don't want to tell you how to hire a CTO. Because unless you do that, you are going to be the chief everything officer for your business. You can't afford a CTO. You can't afford a CMO. You can't afford a sales head. And they may not join you also. Why would someone give his career or life to you unless he's a useless? Right? And then you don't want to create a company of bojos. Right? So I am going to do this 6-step process. What do you think that if you would have entered this room and you would have seen switch 1 and you outside there is a warning sign says wrong switch will blow you out. Wrong press will blow you out. And if you have these 2 situations, what would you do? Suppose there's no easy one then. So easy one is all of us will press easy one. This switch is pretty nice, right? If suppose you have this flat switch,
difficult to give us money, not the easy one.
Sorry?
Easy one has the competition, difficult to give us money.
No. I am saying, I am right now, you are entering this room, there is a board outside that cautions you that if you press wrong, you will be blown away and you get the flat switch outside, inside the room, and it's a dark room. What will you do? You will not switch on, right? And that is what happening. Today, you talk to every person next to you and say, I want to become an entrepreneur. But you tell, in fact, a very interesting story. I had a meeting with the director of Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, Ahmedabad. And he said, Ishwar, I'm running this design thinking program, business model program, this program, that program. I said, yeah, you are also the oldest and largest institution in this country to nurture entrepreneurship. Can you name one person who has come and learned entrepreneurship from you and became an entrepreneur or created a 100 crore company? And I have not received one name till today. Right? Whereas colleges like Harvard, their executives, their alumni controls $3.75 trillion of revenue globally as an entrepreneur. Which is 3 times bigger than the Indian economy itself. So they're running 3 countries, right? They're alumni. So what is happening is we are actually, as an entrepreneur, do not know how to switch in the right direction. And if we have we switched in the right direction or wrong direction? We do not know. Right? It's like Arjuna, for the whole of his life, was taught to be a great warrior, but when it came to fight a war of Mahabharata, he said, I can't do the Gandhi, I am shivering. Right? Every day you are facing a problem, and that's why today I say all Indian entrepreneurs love is sitting in front of computer and coding. And saying, oh, what a code I have created. And then you are doing rescue fantasy. I wish one customer can see my site. I wish someone can give me money. I wish someone can give me this, someone can give me this, and I could go to somewhere else. Right? So, and that's the reason why, if you see the startup journey, 18 months, 70% of startup, every startup is a struggle zone. Right? Less than 1 in 1,000 gets into $1 million of revenue, and in India it's a 1 crore. Right? And I want to ask you today as an entrepreneur, which zone you want to be. Decide your zone. If you can't decide your zone, don't be an entrepreneur. I aim to see you in at least 4% with 60 to 70% chance of success. And I am going to gradually tell you that this 2.5 hours is not enough. I am going to give you questions that you can go outside this classroom, sit with yourself and answer. And if you need my time, you can book 30-minute slot and talk to me one-on-one. I'll tell you how. Or you can, I can't find a thing for you. So like Krishna, he just opened up things for Arjuna. I can't give you an answer. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Subhash Chandra, Mukesh Ambani, Dhirubhai Ambani, no one can give you the answer. Answer is in you. I can't tell you that go and hire this kind of salesman and do your business. You have to find what sells. You know, there's a culture and there is a individuality. Unless the both match and that culture is you, that culture is not me. I am my culture. Then, the second biggest surprise, lots of us complain that funding is not happening, right? You see this, normally there are 3,000 raw ideas, out of which 100 gets explored, right? Then 10 gets developed, 2 gets into project launches, 1 becomes successful, and from those all, around 1,000 plus meeting happens. A VC or an investor puts money only in 40 in a round 1. Then they do 20 followers, half dozen small wins, and they get 1 or 2 wins. How will you get a funding? And this is not my data. You go and research. I have been just putting up beautiful pictures and towers around it because I wanted to build and see how the building looks. And there's no building coming up out of it. Right? So, that is because we are actually not taking a linear approach. We are not taking a journey approach. Building a startup is all about taking an inspiration. Are you an entrepreneur? Learning. There is a big debate globally between born and made entrepreneur. People say entrepreneurs are born. How many of you believe that entrepreneurs are born? Do you think entrepreneurs are born? Why do we say Marwadis and Gujarati are born businessmen? Business is in their blood, that's what we call, right? Do you think entrepreneurs are born? Made. Yes. So 40% successful entrepreneurs globally are born. 40%. And 60% are made. And that's why Harvard or Stanford or this kind of institutions are able to, IIM in some extent now, IITs, they are able to create those entrepreneurs. So it's a journey. So you learn, then you go and create a good idea. Right? And there is this much process there. Then you go and build your product. Then you go and launch. And then you go and scale. What is happening today as an entrepreneur, half the time, every 5 minutes, I am switching somewhere else. मेरे को लगता है यार टीम नहीं है इसलिए काम नहीं हो रहा है. फिर हमको लगता है अरे यार प्रोडक्ट ही हमारा अच्छा नहीं इसलिए नहीं हो रहा है. मेरे को लगता है यार बिजनेस प्लान ही नहीं है इसलिए काम नहीं हो रहा है. फंडिंग नहीं मिल रही है इसलिए काम नहीं हो रहा है. हम काम तो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हम एक अप्रोच से we are not putting a right approach towards the result. I want you guys to set your home right in a right way. Right? And to set your home right, the very first thing required is to have a will. Are you an entrepreneur by accident, incident, chance, plan, dream, strategy, vision, action, what? And if you have a choice, we have taken entrepreneurship as a choice, I want to tell you a nice story of a guy who used to be the first boxing champion. What was the name? No, the global guy.
Mike Tyson.
Not a box, sorry. So I'm forgetting his name. I'm forgetting his name. Anyway, so this guy wrote a letter to himself saying that in 1979 he wrote a letter to himself saying that in next 10 years I'll become the world's #1 whatever champion, black karate. I think this was a black karate guy. Bruce Lee, exactly, sorry. Yes. So Bruce Lee in 1979 wrote a paper saying that in 80s he will become world famous karate. He will earn $10 million in revenue. Once $10 million he will have in bank, and he created a lifestyle. And he died after 4 years. And you know what happened? He created more wealth than he wrote in his letter to himself, $15 million to be exact. And he became such a global phenomenon that till today no one has broken his records. That's why he called Bruce Lee. Do you guys have similar will? A plan A for your business? Have you written your dream somewhere? If you have not, I would like you to take a piece of paper and write it down right now. You say, I have actually seen it, but I'm not carrying because I don't know, because it's a very short time. But write down I, first name, last name, want to do whatever in next 5 years with XYZ thing. Your secret sauce. Write it down, hold it, put it in your wallet, see what is happening to you. I'm telling you, sir, you need to have a will so that when you are going to see the seed of your success, it is always there in front of you. Keep on looking at it. I myself have done that, and I can tell you I have achieved certain things. It's called law of attraction. Right? Try to do it. try to write down your entrepreneurial dream, fold it 6 times, put it in your wallet, at least every Sunday just have a look at it and see how it runs. It will keep your goal in front of you. Right? Then, the second thing is, are you ready as an entrepreneur? Ask yourself a question. Why are you doing an entrepreneurship? Lots of time people will say money, someone will say to buy a house, someone will say to do something. Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? You know, and I again draw my analogy from Bhagavad Gita, where it says, and then are you building something enduring? And I tell you my own life story. At one point of time last year, I was running 6 apps on the App Store. And I went to, and it's a full stack. So it has a web apps, it has a mobile apps, everything. And I went to someone and said, yeah, my apps are not working. He said, Ishwar, I can tell you answer in 1 minute. I said, yeah. He said, how many of your apps you open every day? Or whenever you have felt the need for this app. And I tell you, out of all the 6, I had not even need for even 1. And I spent 2.5 crore rupees building those apps. And from that day till today, I have not even touched those apps where it is, what is happening with this. And not that I just heard him and said, junk it off. I went on to analyze it. I started finding customers. I started talking to my customers and said, hey, are you using this app? Why you are not using this? Why you are not logging in? Why it is not becoming part of your habit? Why you are not missing my app? We all miss WhatsApp.